Questions for this witness?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Mr. Hahn, it would be fair for me to say that by the time, I'm going to ask you about another chat you had with Jamie on March 28th of 2013. So that would have been 8 days after that one where John sent out the email basically saying he'd taken care of the money.
Yes, sir.
It would be fair for me to say by around that time, nothing would have made life a lot easier than to just have the Brad Miller stuff done and out of your hair. Would that have been fair?
For Jamie, certainly, yes, sir.
And you were sort of, look, part of your duties as a husband is you be there to let your wife vent on you. That's
Yes, sir.
what you do. And that's sort of what some of these chats were.
Yes, sir.
But you were put in a tough position because in some ways, Jamie had become very good friends with John, but Jamie became her friend because he was your friend.
Yes, sir.
She met him through you. And even though she'd become friends and hired him, this was, in a way, you introduced him into her life, correct?
Yes, sir.
This was, and here he's, you're both in a tough position because, at this point, on March 28th, he hasn't made any revelations to you about cancer or anything yet, but he's been telling you about MS, he's gallbladder surgery and all this stuff. And by the way, there was, I think the gallbladder surgery thing, that was after the trip to the wedding you went to in Atlanta, right?
Yes, sir.
When was that? That was like in March too, wasn't it?
Mid-March, I suspect. I can't recall.
Shortly after that, March 28th, Jamie is having a chat with you like at 8:24 in the morning. You didn't work from home, did you?
Not usually, sir.
You go to New Kind. Where is that?
It's on Hillsborough Street, sir.
So I'm guessing if she's chatting with you at 8:24, you got in earlier than that, or?
Yes, sir.
But she's chatting with you on that day. She just can't wait till she's finished having to deal with John and work stuff.
Yes, sir. So she could be his friend, sir.
And I was just going to get to that because she said that in the thing.
Yes,
she
sir.
says she's still, and she was specific on work stuff because she was recognizing that the work stuff, she was harboring such ill feelings because she had to come down on him as a boss sometimes. But she said in the same thing, she didn't like it.
Well, sir, we believed he was facing a number of health issues and other things, and we were concerned. We wanted to be able to focus on being his friend and not, or she wanted to be able to focus on being his friend and not his employer, or not involved in employment matters, sir.
Right, she cared about him.
Yes, sir.
She said to you that she got another email. So this is like 8 days after he sent the thing saying that the loan thing squared away, and she'd gotten another email yet from Phyllis Barber, right?
Yes, sir.
And she tried to go into the NGP system to get it figured out, and she was telling you she wasn't able to make it work that day.
Yes, sir.
John had sent her a message saying that it was fixed and it was totally his fault and he's sorry, and she's telling you it sounds like the same thing that she talked to you about the night before.
Yes, sir.
And she says, she even speaks bad about herself, that she feels like a bitch sending him all these messages at 8 o'clock in the morning, but she needs it, even if he has to work at 8:30 in the morning, right? That was what she wrote that day.
Yes, sir.
But she goes on to say how his not doing this stuff puts her in a bad mood, makes her angry, gets her annoyed. She just wants the things figured out so she can stop having to deal with him regarding work.
Yes, sir.
And right after that, she says, so we can be better.
Yes, sir.
And by that, you took that to mean so that we can just be friends
Yes, sir.
and not deal with this stuff.
Yes, sir.
This was a candidate that was gonna be gone. It wasn't gonna be a client anymore. John, at that point, I believe, was saying he was looking or had secured other employment.
I believe at that point he had told us he was working for LabCorp, sir.
And, you know, she just wanted all that. She didn't want to say goodbye to John. She just wanted to say goodbye to him as an employee.
Yes, sir.
And it wouldn't have bothered you either, because then she wouldn't have to vent on you and put you in the awkward position. Is that fair?
I don't think any husband likes to be on the receiving end of too much venting for something you didn't do.
Well, exactly. But I mean, well, you deal with that. But this one was a little different because it's involving John, and he's your friend. You know, and you, both, you and her, even though you didn't know or had heard anything, let's say, about cancer at that point, you were hearing all these other things. You felt sorry for the guy.
Absolutely.
As a result of these events and as a result of the investigation that took place as a result of these events, you really came to learn there was a lot about John Broyhill that you really didn't know. Would
That's
that be
correct.
fair? For example, you knew he didn't have a relationship with his mom. We talked about that a little bit.
Yes, sir.
There'd been some discussion about him, about his mom having lived in Florida, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, you said you remembered something at some point about her maybe being in Hudson,
Yes, sir.
which is adjacent to Lenore, right?
Yes, sir.
But you're in close contact with your parents, the Greers, right?
Yes, sir.
You talk to them almost every day.
Yes, sir.
They're still members of that Whitnell Pentecostal church,
Yes, sir.
as is John's father.
I believe so, sir.
And again, small church,
At this point, it's not as small.
not as small, right, because they built the new church, but, you know, of the original group that made it over from the small church to big church, people know each other there.
Yes, sir.
Had you heard the rumors about John's mother leaving his father to go live with John's girlfriend from when he was a kid?
No, sir.
You, basically, with all the stuff that you were going to find out, everything started to come into question. You don't know what's true, what's not true anymore.
That's correct, sir.
I mean, you had been told that his father worked in the textile industry and would go to South America under guard sometimes, correct?
Yes, sir.
For all you know, that could have happened. You don't know anymore.
Correct, sir.
Now you're a young, intelligent, college-educated man. You're not, and you do some pretty responsible jobs. You could make some certain, you could ascertain certain things from your own observations. You could tell he wasn't a bigwig. He lived in a modest little ranch home in Lenore, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you never questioned his father about that, did you?
No, sir.
No, that you didn't have that kind of relationship with the father, did you?
No, sir.
Where you get into the in-depth stuff. Was it your impression that he had come out to his father about being gay?
He told us that he had, sir.
Education-wise, he told you that he'd gone to, taken some college classes to be a mortician, gone to, like, I think you said even like a few credits shy of actually getting his degree in mortuary science, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you learn through the investigation that he hardly took a class there?
No, sir.
So you didn't know that prior to this?
No, sir.
And he'd been telling you that for years, right?
Yes, sir.
You did know him to help out at one of the local funeral homes in Lenore, right?
Yes, sir.
But he called that an internship for these classes he was supposedly taking, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're saying you didn't know that was just helping out and maybe making a couple of bucks.
It was presented as like an apprenticeship almost, sir.
So the stuff about being a few credits shy, you had no idea. that that's not true?
No, sir.
I asked you some questions. You knew he wasn't good with his money because you knew about the car repossessed and stuff like that. There's a lot of news reports that have come out about this case and this whole event. You find out through the investigation that when John was 23, I don't know, you would have been around the time you're graduating from Chapel Hill, that he had filed bankruptcy.
I was told that after everything happened, sir.
You never knew it beforehand, did you?
No, sir.
He never shared that with you.
No, sir.
That might have been something that had you and Jamie known that, might have been hesitant to maybe, or at least taken it into consideration before asking him to come work with her. Would that be fair?
Certainly would have been. I can't speak for Jamie, sir. She's no longer with us, but my guess is that she would be hesitant to put him in charge of money if she had known that, sir.
And you might have counseled her otherwise too.
I imagine that would have, sir.
And you would have, that'd be a bit of a surprise for you, being this guy who was your best friend. You never even knew that, did you?
No, sir.
In fact, you didn't have concerns about him taking money.
No, sir.
Even the week prior to this happening.
No, sir.
You told us that on that week that you went to Emerald Isle, you asked John to stay behind and watch the house and the pets like he'd done in the past, right?
Yes, sir.
And I think one of the dogs needed some kind of a treatment from the veterinarian. I don't remember what it was. Get neutered or something?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what it was. There was something though, right? You gave information and asked him to take care of it, right?
He called, I think, from the vet, or was on the way to the vet, and said they needed a number for like a down payment on the surgery, sir.
Is that what it was? Was it a surgery? I don't even remember what you said.
It was like a spaying, neutering. It was a female dog, and I don't remember what the phrase is, but it was whatever that is. Yes, sir.
But you didn't have any hesitation in doing it because it never would have occurred to you that this is something that John would do, was to use your card for his own personal use. You wouldn't have ever thought that week. Is that fair?
That's correct.
And you knew Jamie. She wouldn't have thought that either.
No, sir.
Even when you went with him, you testified about going with him to the bank when he was supposedly securing the loan for the car, the Volvo that he would buy. Not the broken down Volvo, okay? The one
yes.
that, what did he get from Nick Richards?
Yes, sir.
The one that he had at the time that this event occurred. That was a nicer car.
Yes, sir.
And you went with him to the bank where he said, I'm going to go in, and like he's getting out of loan money. You had no idea that there was no loan on that car.
That's correct, sir.
In the news reports and the things that came out in the investigation of the case, there was information that John was putting himself out there on a fake email address as a woman. Did you hear anything about that?
No, sir.
Did you, the whole LabCorp thing, I mean, that got, he was telling you about this working at LabCorp and what his job responsibilities were. This is the place that he said he had to go to on that Thursday, April 11th.
Yes, sir.
And where he had to go get the laptop so he could come back and help Jamie out that day. And we'll come back to the 11th. It wasn't until after all this that you found out he never worked at LabCorp.
Yes, sir.
You found that out as a result of the investigation, correct?
I don't know if anyone ever specifically told me that, sir. I believe my assumption was that it wasn't true.
And then the illnesses. At one point, he told you that he had rheumatoid arthritis. Do you remember that?
Several years prior, he had mentioned that he might have some early sign of rheumatoid, or they were concerned about rheumatoid arthritis, sir.
That was like maybe back in 2009.
It was some time ago, sir.
The police asked you about it. You volunteered that to the police that you remember telling him.
I do remember him mentioning that, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not holding you to it. I'm just saying it might have been around that. You recall.
I don't recall when he mentioned it, but I do know at one point he mentioned that he might have some, that they were concerned that he may have turn into that, sir.
No, his mom, but you had heard that his mom had that. As you said, his dad remarried after his parents split, and his stepmom had some daughters. Did you ever meet them?
Not that I can remember, sir.
Did you ever hear about one of them having rheumatoid arthritis?
I believe that's correct, sir.
The reason I asked you about, you agree that you would have been guessing with them as well if you're saying 2008 and 2009. That's what I'm taking
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
from your testimony. But it was before the time that he was working on this Brad Miller
Yes, sir.
stuff, and even before he was working for Sky Blue Strategies.
Yes, sir.
Do you now know that that's not true?
I did not, sir.
The multiple sclerosis, you mentioned your friend Pam Cole,
Yes, sir.
who had been with she was the predecessor to Phyllis Barber,
Correct, sir.
so she's
Yes, sir.
not the campaign director.
Yes, sir.
She had MS.
Yes.
Did you know or had you heard that John's stepsister Amanda had MS?
I don't know if I recall that, sir.
This having the MS, he would tell you things that were very involved about
Yes, sir.
having that illness, having to go for regular shots, correct?
I believe that he mostly presented himself as giving him the shots himself at first.
But there was some treatment that you testified about, that Carol Erickson.
That was referred to as infusions.
And to your knowledge, because you do know, I mean, you know Carol Erickson. I mean,
Yes, sir.
She was a friend as well.
Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, she actually did take him to the hospital for some.
I know she did, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, that happened.
Yes, sir.
Told you about having the doctors finding lesions on his brain and things like that.
Yes, sir.
And so it's not just you. It's like there's this other woman, this Carol Erickson. She's driving him to, because you know that actually happened.
Yes,
right,
sir.
To Rex.
Yes, sir.
And now you've heard through this investigation, he didn't have MS.
Yes, sir.
Then as it got into like April of, I don't know, I'm sorry, it was March. Sometime after the Atlanta wedding trip, he tells you about how he's been having this issue with gallstones and he has to go for gallbladder surgery, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, you testified, you told us, he was like, he came and convalesced at your home for this.
Yes, sir.
Jamie got a text from what was supposed to have been his dad saying that got through the surgery okay.
Yes, sir.
And now do you know through the investigation and afterwards, there was no gallbladder surgery?
Yes, sir.
Did you know that his parents didn't even know anything about this gallbladder stuff?
I don't recall being told that, sir. My presumption was that they were not actually here after we found out more details. Yes, sir.
The pancreatic cancer?
Yes, sir.
Had you heard from John about how his maternal grandmother, his mom's mom, had died of that?
He relayed that to us around the same time. Well, I mean, he may have relayed it to us earlier, but certainly when we were talking about the pancreatic cancer that first day, he mentioned it then as well.
And it's same thing. He started talking about things like a Whipple procedure.
Yes, sir.
That's actually, and again, it sort of goes to you know, what you can do these days on the internet. I mean, you did the same. I think you and Jamie did the same thing. You just went online and said,
To see exactly what he was discussing, sir.
exactly. It was just like it's a surgery to try to remove the cancer
Yes, sir.
from the pancreas and the surrounding areas. But it's you know it's been around. You can, I mean, someone can go online and look this stuff up, and from that basically come up with this stuff to say. And as it turns out, there was other, I mean, it was more than just telling you this stuff. He's telling you like his father and his stepmom were coming to town for the day after these events on April 22nd. They were going to take him to the doctor, correct, on April 23rd?
Yes, sir.
I think another mutual friend had even gone to the trouble of making arrangements to put a room aside
Yes, sir.
for his parents to stay in.
I do not know that for sure,
You
sir.
did not know about that?
No, sir.
Okay. You hadn't heard about that?
No, sir.
That would be that, is it, I don't know how to say it. Is it Wertheim or Werthen?
I believe it's Wertheim, sir. At least that's the
Wertheim?
way I pronounce it.
Okay. Margaret.
Maureen, sir.
Maureen. She's the mother of somebody.
She's the mother of Kaylin.
Kaylin Gutman.
Yes, sir.
Was married to Ben.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, these are all nice people reaching out for him. He's telling, it's not just you and Jamie.
That's correct, sir.
He's telling everybody this stuff.
Yes, sir.
And I mean, he didn't just pick any disease. He picked a disease that, using your words, you saw it as a death sentence. You and Jamie saw it as a death sentence.
Certainly a concern, sir.
It's not something that typically, if you look that up, people survive.
Not very high probability, sir.
And of course, now you know none of that was true.
That's correct, sir.
Now, we did talk about the depression.
Yes, sir.
You knew he was depressed about certain things. You remember telling the police you think he might have seen someone in Lenore about it?
I believe he referenced seeing someone in the past about it before he moved to Raleigh, sir.
But, again, you don't even know if that's true, right?
No, sir.
Same thing with in Raleigh. At some point, did you hear from him that he was seeing a counselor in Raleigh?
Told Jamie and I both he was seeing a therapist relatively close to our home, somewhere on Falls of Neuse or Six Forks, sir.
You remember hearing the name Sue Simon?
I don't recall the specific name, sir. I do remember it being a female, sir.
But as you sit here today, you don't even know if that's true.
No, sir.
You recall John telling you about being abused as a child by an uncle.
Yes, sir.
Sustained.
Basically, and of course, well, the big thing, the money. You already said you had no idea that was being taken.
No, sir.
And there was nothing about the way he was living other than perhaps the purchase of the car, but you thought that was with a loan, right?
Yes, sir.
But there was nothing about his lifestyle that suggested this is someone who's got a lot of money.
Correct, sir.
And in being interviewed, you told the police, in many ways, Jamie was even more trusting of John than you were.
I believe that to be true, sir.
But
I mean,
and you trusted him.
Absolutely, sir.
I will ask you about the one thing about the money, because I'm going to ask you now about the event that happened here. David Blair made a comment about the weekend at the beach prior to these events, that John seemed to be spending more money that weekend than that was normal for him. Did you happen to notice that?
Not especially, sir. I mean, I would have said that he was spending more money than I would have if I'd just been let go of my job. But it wasn't an exorbitant amount. I mean, it was a T-shirt at a store.
We're not talking big stuff.
No.
Let me ask you about the day of April 22nd.
Okay, sir.
That, and as I do that, we're gonna have to recap on some of the days leading up to it, okay?
Yes, sir.
First of all, when you got home that day, everything seemed fine.
Yes, sir.
And you can, police have asked you that, you've consistently said everything seemed fine when you got home.
Yes, sir.
You testified yesterday about when you got in the door, John got up and gave you embraced you, gave you a hug.
Yes, sir.
And again, it's one of those things, if I say it wrong, you correct it, okay? There was the dog gate up somewhere near the end of the hallway
Yes, sir.
before you get to the area of the kitchen and the family room.
I believe there was, sir.
Because I think, if I recall, you said John got up, you went toward him, and he had to lean over the gate, or, I mean, it wasn't a lot of leaning over, but the gate was between the two of you when he gave you the hug.
That's what I recall, sir.
Jamie was in her office,
She was.
and the doors were closed because something about keeping the pets out of the office, correct?
Keeping the pets out of the rest of the house. Keeping the pets out of the rest of the house, sir.
Where were they limited to?
To the kitchen, living room, and her office, if she was in her office.
If she was in the office?
Yes, the puppy in particular. We had a young puppy that was chewing.
I don't remember you saying whether you saw the pets in the house at the time that you got home.
I don't recall seeing them, sir.
Pardon me?
I don't recall seeing the dog, sir.
Okay. You do recall seeing her on the phone, though, because there's glass doors going into that office, right?
Yes, sir.
And as you look into the office, as you come in the hallway, where's the schematic of the house that Mr. Fawcett reviewed with you? Can I approach the clerk here?
Yes. If you would, go ahead and put it up. I think that's the easiest.
Yeah, thank you. So the jury can see it. Here, I'll do it. This is State's Exhibit 113 that we're referring to, okay? It's the same thing, except that there are markings on it. Okay. You see it okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. And if you need to reposition yourself, go ahead. So as we look at the schematic here on the left side of the screen, that would be the front door coming into the house, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, and that's the door you came in that day?
Yes, sir.
All right. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. The first car parked in the drive. So the driveway would be along the top part of the screen on this side of the house.
Yes, sir.
And Jamie's car was in first because she was home before you.
Yes, sir.
John's car's parked in the front of the house on the street.
Yes, sir.
So when you come in the front door, you're coming right through the middle of the house, correct?
Yes, sir.
The stairway will be immediately to your left.
Yes, sir.
And there are some doors immediately to your right leading into this front area of the house, front meaning facing Tealwood. That was Jamie's office, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now there are doors, is it a door or a double door going from the hallway into this office area?
I don't know how to describe them. They were folding doors.
So like bifold doors
I suppose so, yes, sir.
with glass?
Yes, sir.
So you can see right through them.
Yes, sir.
And There's a L-shaped desk in the corner of the room.
Yes, sir.
That was Jamie's desk.
Yes, sir.
Think there's a desk in this corner. Is that where John worked?
No, sir.
What is that?
That was just a spare desk that sometimes people would work on if they were coming over to the house, or otherwise they just stored stuff there.
And what is this desk here?
That would be his desk, sir.
Okay, so that's where he would work.
Yes, sir.
She'd work, and the front of her desk would face sort of toward those glass doors?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall where the phone was on that desk?
The desk phone,
Yeah.
I believe it was to the right, like on the long L.
On the
maybe.
long part of
I
the
believe
desk?
so, if I remember correctly, sir.
Was she, do you know if she was on her cell phone or on the desk phone?
I don't remember, sir.
Okay, you just remember being on a phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. So was she facing toward the door?
She was.
All right. So there's no question she was on the phone.
She was, I presume, either checking a voicemail or speaking with someone, sir.
Okay. And this hallway here, looking straight ahead, would look ahead to this kitchen table area. That's where Mr. Broyhill was.
He was walking through that kitchen, sir.
Did you see him as soon as you came in the door?
Don't remember if I saw him immediately, but it wasn't far long thereafter, sir.
Okay. Where's the dog gate? Can you point it out?
You want me to step up?
Yes, please.
We had dog gates placed here and here, sir.
Okay, so at this entrance, and when we're describing is the end of the hallway where it enters into the kitchen.
Yes, sir.
There was a gate there?
There were 2 doggy gates, sir.
2.
Yes, one there and then one at the dining room leading into the kitchen as well.
Okay, but just one gate here, though?
One here, one here.
Okay. The other one that you're pointing to is the one that would go, as you said, from the dining room out to the side door that you exited from?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If the gate was here, that means you had to walk all the way to the kitchen to lean over the gate to give Mr. Broyhill the hug.
Yes, sir.
Do you recall when you walked back toward the stairs if Jamie was still on the phone?
I don't, sir.
Just weren't paying attention?
I wasn't paying attention, sir.
You're sure she was, though?
When I walked in,
when
I'm...
you came in?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you went directly upstairs.
After I spoke to your client, sir.
How long would you say you and Mr. Broyhill spoke?
A couple of minutes, sir.
Okay, not terribly long.
Not a very long time.
When you, so you went, and when you went back to go upstairs, you went back down the same hallway, you did not cross the gate,
No, sir.
correct? And then you went up the stairs to the second floor where your bedroom was, correct?
Yes, sir.
The best of your knowledge, Jamie had not exited the room,
Her office.
her office area.
She had not by the time when I was turning to go upstairs, sir.
So you never saw her other than in the office, on the phone, at her desk,
Until after everything happened, sir.
till after. I mean, I'm talking before you went up the stairs.
Correct, sir.
All right. Now, you said you went to use the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I don't mean to be indelicate, but I have to ask these questions. You said something about using the iPad.
Yes, sir.
So I'm assuming you weren't urinating.
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Did you change clothes prior to going to the bathroom?
I took off my work clothes and put on basketball shorts, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you about that. What did you wear for work clothes, if you know?
I think on a normal day, I usually wear a button down with either jeans or khaki, sir.
Okay, so you guys dressed business casual there.
Yes, sir.
Had you taken all of those clothes off?
I still had on my undershirt, sir, which I sometimes would work out in at that point.
Okay. Shirt, pants. How about shoes and socks? Some people take them off at the front door. Some people walk throughout the house with them.
I took them off upstairs, sir.
All right, so did you wear loafers or did you wear tie shoes, if you know?
I have no idea what I was wearing that day, sir.
Okay, you don't recall.
I do not recall, sir.
You,
I would typically wear sometimes loafers if I was dressing up a little bit, or, also sneakers.
sometimes sneakers?
Yeah, lace-up shoes of some sort.
Okay. Did all of those articles of clothing come off before you went to the bathroom?
Yes, sir.
Any estimate is, do you have anything in the bedroom, like a television or anything like that, that you would have put on when you came in?
I did not put on television, sir.
Not put anything on?
No, sir.
You disrobed first, and then did you put on the gym shorts? Or did that come later?
I put on the gym shorts then, sir.
You did, okay. Anything on your feet?
I don't think so, sir.
I just remember you saying something, you were planning on, I don't know, a hike or something, you might do something?
I think I was planning on going on a run at that point, sir.
Okay, but you hadn't done that yet?
I hadn't put on the shoes yet or gone on the run, sir.
All right. Then you went to the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
You weren't urinating, so you're doing the other thing. When you were there, you had the iPad.
Yes, sir.
You were doing what people do. You were tweeting or whatever. I think you said something to one of the police report, tweeting or something. I don't know, messaging something.
Don't exactly recall it at this point, but I was doing something on the iPad, sir.
Was there anything on the iPad that gave you any indication that you can recall the amount of time
No,
that
sir.
you spent on the iPad?
No, sir.
Okay. Your testimony was that you thought that the whole time, from the time that you were and I don't know if this was the upstairs time or from the time you walked in the door. You mentioned something about 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Was that the time upstairs, or was that the time from the time you arrived home?
It was probably mostly the time upstairs, I would imagine. I mean, I may have been home 15 minutes. I don't recall exactly, sir. In total.
When you say off by 15 minutes, you mean it could have been as long as 15 minutes, or?
Yes, sir. I mean, I wasn't home terribly long, sir.
I just need to be clear. The 15 minutes, would you be talking about just, let's limit it to just the time upstairs. How long do you think you were upstairs from the time you walked up the stairs?
5 to 10 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes on the outside, sir.
Okay, so that's where the 5 to 10 minute estimate came from.
Yes, sir.
And acknowledging you weren't looking at a clock.
No, sir.
I know there's a clock, well, I assume there's a clock on whatever device you were looking at, but you weren't paying attention to it.
No, sir.
You were on the toilet when you first heard the yelling.
Yes, sir.
Now, there comes a point. I have to ask this question. Were you done going to the toilet when you first heard the yelling?
I don't remember, sir.
Okay. Did that cause you any delay in getting up from the toilet when you were hearing the yelling? Because you indicated yesterday, I think you said you yelled out back a couple of times, what? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So, do you recall when you were doing that, if you were doing that from the toilet?
Initially, but I also know that I said what as I was proceeding through the bedroom, sir.
Right, but initially,
The first time yes, I was on the toilet, sir.
okay. So you were actually on the toilet when you first heard the yelling?
Yes, sir.
The yelling that you heard, you had mentioned something to the police in one of your early statements that at first, when you heard it, you certainly didn't suspect any wrongdoing.
No, sir.
You'd come home and this was the last thing that what happened this day that you would have expected to have happened, correct?
Yes, sir.
You remember making a statement to police something about you thought the dogs had brought a snake in from outside?
Jamie was scared of snakes, and we had a hunting dog that was prone to bringing things inside, so that was one of the thoughts that ran through my mind, sir.
Had that ever happened before?
No, sir.
Okay, but you were just speculating.
As I proceeded through the house, I had no idea what I was walking into, and that was one of the thoughts that did rush through my mind, sir.
But nothing that would, at that point, when initially hearing the yelling, that would give rise to that there was some kind of an attack going on downstairs.
That's correct, sir.
Again, if you don't recall, just say it, but do you think you were still seated when you heard the yelling and yelled back what?
As I told you, I think the initial what was, yes, I was still seated, sir.
Okay. You're using the bed. Did you have to, clean yourself up and stuff to go down?
I don't remember, sir.
All right. Well, did you go that day? If you recall.
I don't remember, sir.
Okay. When you got up, did you have to put on any articles of clothing? Or did you put any articles of clothing on prior to going down the stairs?
I pulled up my pants, sir.
So you put your pants back on?
I had on basketball shorts. I pulled them back on, sir.
Pulled your pants back on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about the shoes and socks?
I didn't put on shoes, sir, and that I remember, sir.
I'm sorry.
I do not believe I put on shoes, sir.
Comes a point where you run out of the house, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you recall if you had your shoes on when you were out of the house?
I do not, sir.
Did not have them on, or
I do not remember, sir.
you don't remember? There comes a point when you're yelling, where the yelling, how you described it, before you hear her say, "Help, help, he's trying to kill me." That is something you don't hear until you're on the staircase.
Yes, sir.
Almost downstairs.
Yes, sir.
Prior to that, what you were hearing was Jamie yelling your name and his name in an alternating fashion, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to come back to that, okay? When you got on the staircase, do you have any recollection, and if you don't, that's fine, of where you were on the staircase when you heard the words that he's trying to kill me?
It's part of the way down the stairs, sir.
Part of the way down?
Yes, sir.
So it could have been anywhere. The
A
top.
third to a half, I don't know, sir. It could have
Okay.
been the top. I don't remember, sir, exactly.
That's fine. And this was a traumatic event, so no one expects you to remember the best. If you did, you do, and if you don't, just tell me you don't. That's fine.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
It's okay. When you get down the stairs and turn around the end of the staircase where you can see down the hall, you remember telling the police that at that point you could see there was already blood everywhere.
There was a good bit of blood around, sir.
And of course, at that point, having now heard your wife say that, and now you see this, it was a totally natural reaction. You yelled out, and I don't know if you recalled the words exactly, but either "what the fuck" or "what the hell."
Yes, sir.
Now, when you did that, I think your testimony was, and you saw him at that point, he was with the knife in hand,
Yes, sir.
and your wife was on the ground.
Yes, sir.
And when he saw you, he turned his direction toward you.
Yes, sir.
Was the gate up or the gate down?
I don't recall, sir.
Okay. When you started yelling that at him, and the distance in the hallway there, we're not talking
It's
very
not a
long.
substantial distance,
Yeah,
sir.
I don't know, 8 feet maybe?
I don't recall, sir. It
Not
wasn't-
long.
Not long, sir.
Your testimony was that, backing up when you were hearing Jamie yell the names.
Yes, sir.
Nation, John, John, Nation, John,
Yes, sir.
Nation. You remember saying that when she said it, to you it sounded as if, in saying his name, John's name, as if she was trying to wake him up.
Sound as if something, my assumption at the time was that something must have been wrong with him. She was using different cadences for her name, sir.
Do you remember giving a statement to the police or maybe to the DA, an interview where you said she was yelling his name as if she was trying to wake him up?
My assumption was that something may have happened to him health-wise, sir, like a diabetic coma or something, sir.
So, in telling me that, I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just asking you. You were asked. Look, you've been asked to give a lot of interviews on this.
Yes.
Do you recall giving one on June 10th of last year?
Yes, sir.
If I showed you some notes from a meeting of June 10th, do you think that would might refresh your recollection?
Yes, sir.
Pull me up 71. see if that helps refresh your recollection about any interview that you would have given regarding this case on June 10th.
It does, sir.
2014 of last year.
I did, sir.
Right hand corner of that exhibit, there are some small
Yes, sir.
date stamp numbers.
Yes, sir.
Let me direct your attention to the bottom of the page that is date stamped 7133.
Okay, sir.
I'll ask you to read not out loud, to yourself, read the bottom of the page, and then it runs over into the top part of 7135. Let me know when you're done reading that. Reflection about what you said at that interview.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you recall then saying that when you heard Jamie scream, you stood up and yelled what?
Yes, sir.
And that she screamed your name and then his name, correct?
She began to do that, sir. Yes, sir.
That's like what you testified to yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And you testified that it was like she was, I'm sorry, you gave a statement, that it was like she was calling for you and yelling at him.
Yes, sir.
You said you ran down the stairs,
Yes, sir.
and it sounded like she was trying to wake him up.
Yes, sir.
And you did say that you were worried about his illnesses.
Yes, sir.
But you made a point of commenting when she was yelling at him that it sounded to you like she was trying to wake him up.
Or something similar, sir.
Well, those were the words you used, right?
Objection of that.
Sustained.
Well, are those the words that you used?
I believe this is written shorthand and not in word for word, sir.
It was while you were running down the stairs that she screamed, "He's trying to kill me."
Yes, sir.
When you got in the hallway then, and you see this scene,
Yes, sir.
you've described as blood everywhere,
Yes, sir.
and you yell at him, whatever it was, whether it was, what the fuck or what the hell,
Yes, sir.
you made a statement that he made no response to you.
That's correct, sir.
It was your words in a statement were that he looked stone-faced.
Yes, sir.
This was the same person that just some moments ago had given you a hug when you came in the door.
That's correct, sir.
When he directed his attention at you testified about it, Jamie was able to run out of the house.
Yes, sir.
And you were able to overpower Mr. Broyhill.
I wouldn't say overpower. I was able to create separation between the two of us.
Created separation. And, he's coming at you now with a knife.
He was, sir.
And do you remember saying that you were hitting him in I believe you said in the face or the hand with an open hand?
Yes, sir.
And he wasn't responding.
No, sir.
He wasn't saying anything. He was just continuing to come at you.
That's correct, sir.
You got cut. We heard testimony about that.
Yes, sir.
In the hand. And you said created separation. You ran out through the dining room.
Yes, sir.
Were you, did, and I can't remember, did you see Jamie leave?
I heard noises and I saw motion out of the corner of my eyes, but I did not see her get up and run out, but I knew she was out of the house, sir.
You felt at the time that you went out that she had exited.
Yes, sir.
And you went out along that, using the schematic. May I approach you?
Yes.
Using the schematic. Your Jamie and what you observed, where Jamie and Mr. Broyhill was down in this area, correct?
That's correct, sir.
Right in front of the kitchen table, sort of where the entranceway is into this family room from the kitchen area, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, John turns his attention at you.
Yes, sir.
Where were you in the hallway, if you can recall, where he and you, engaged each other?
It was somewhere around the cedar chest, middle of the hallway, sir.
In this area?
Yes, sir.
Is that the cedar chest, or is that something
That's
else?
a closet, sir.
Is this the cedar chest?
That is, sir.
So closer near to the end of the stairwell.
I believe so, sir.
All right. Did you notice that the gate was down
I
at
did
that
not,
point?
sir.
Okay. So the fight between you and he occurs in this front hallway foyer area.
That's what I recall, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. And your recollection was that when you exited or got free of him,
Yes, sir.
did he fall back on the stairwell?
I don't know, sir.
Okay, you just knew you got free of him.
Yes, sir.
And you ran down the front of the house on the side, I'm assuming to get some separation
Yes, sir.
between you and him. The table would
Yes,
provide
sir.
that.
Yes, sir.
And you then headed directly to the side door to exit.
Yes, sir.
And I think you were testimony, you don't recall what happened with that gate at that point.
No, sir.
But I do recall you saying, to the best of your recollection, you thought Mr. Broyhill went back up the hallway.
I remember him going back up the hallway, sir. That's what I recall.
Okay.
We're going to recess for the afternoon, Mr. Arbor. So we'll be in recess, ladies and gentlemen, until 9:30 tomorrow morning. Please recall the instructions. Don't talk about the case among yourselves or with anyone else. Don't form or express opinions about the outcome. No media or independent investigation into these matters, and please have no conversation or communication with parties, witnesses, or lawyers. If you leave your notepads in your chairs and gather in the deliberation room at 9:30 tomorrow morning. Thank you all very much for your service. The presence of the jury.
Not from the state, Your Honor.
Nothing.
Be in recess till 9:30 tomorrow morning.